Now, the MSU Federal Credit Union Coaches Show.
We really want to be a world-class training facility. We also want to give them the best chance to play in the National Hockey League, and this is a huge piece for us.
It worked out in a different way than maybe it was planned, but the right guy had the ball at the right time.
Over to Hauser, shovel pass there.
Buzzer beaters never get old. Hello and welcome to the Breslin Center. This place was bumping on Wednesday night after Joey Hauser hit the game-winning bucket against Minnesota, which brought just about every Spartan fan in attendance up off of their feet. It's certainly something that Gabe Brown is familiar with over the years, whether it be from his crazy dance moves to his wild dunks. But as Ian Kress shares, there is more to the senior captain than his Energizer bunny-like attitude.
We'll just start with, does it feel like just yesterday for you, you were a freshman? Is it kind of crazy you're already a senior right now?
Yeah, it's wild. It's a crazy feeling that I'm in right now because it's surreal. I do remember. I remember when I first walking into Brody for my dorm. It's crazy to see where I'm at now.
Kind of going back to your freshman year, I think the reason I wanted to do it on the bench here is because you had that one classic moment of you dancing on the bench.
It's a beautiful play. Again, the find, and McQuaid with struggle. Talk about work.
Where did that come from, that energy and that excitement of just trying to hype up your teammates?
That's just my personality. I'm a fun guy. I'm a goofy guy. I always got a smile on my face, so it was just in the heat of the moment. And it was a good play by Matt McQuaid in the game, so I was just super excited.
That game also, you had a pretty nice game that day as well. Just what was that like as a freshman to have that kind of performance?
Brown comes in and hits two from downtown.
It's kind of crazy because me, Josh, and Aaron, after every game, we used to go to McDonald's after every single game, and I used to just tell them, I'm gonna have a big game, bro. Like, I'm gonna have a big game. It's gonna be during the tournament, and it happened, and it was crazy.
Why McDonald's was just something you guys like to do?
It was so late at night, the only thing that was open was McDonald's.
That's fair. So now as a senior, you're a captain, and you've taken this new role where your team's leading scorer. So now that performance you had as a freshman is kind of the usual thing for you now. So how have you really grown into now just being the team's leading scorer? I
try to just make sure everybody can look up to me, at least in some way possible, by my work ethic, by me talking on the floor, by me how I carry myself. That's just one of the main things I want to go by. Sometimes it's hard being a captain because coach is going to be on you all the time because it's just how it is.
I saw an Instagram post you had when you graduated. You shared with everyone the grades you had. Just what was that time like, when you were struggling your freshman and sophomore year, and then what is it like now that you have graduated and you're getting your master's?
So back in high school, I was a poor student. Even Coach Hayes would tell you I was a poor student, but I never took school serious until I took basketball serious. So when all that clicked, school has always been hard for me. So for me to get to this point in my life where I graduated from college it's one of the greatest feelings ever.
Yeah, and to do it also for your dad, how special of a moment was that for you and your family?
It meant the world to me. They was smiling, they was happy. I did it in 3 years, which not a lot of people in my family can say, so I think I'm the first to ever do it in my family.
On the topic of your dad, just how has that been something that's driven you to be the player and person you are today?
He instilled with me was a lot of becoming a man at an early age, taking care of my family. So
now that you've graduated, you're getting your master's on the court, what are your goals for this season, also maybe beyond college?
I want to win the Big Ten. It's been 2 years since we won it.
Hey, I'm back to back. I'm back to back. I got a Final Four, and I got a Big Ten tournament champion. Talk to me, man.
I want to show the guys what that feel like.
I remember, I think it was before the season started, you said something kind of funny where last time you guys went to the Final Four, you had a buzz cut. And you decided to get that this year.
Yeah.
It seems like that's your good luck charm?
Yeah, that's my good luck charm. Yeah, that's my good luck charm.
Brown has been a fan favorite since day one, and while it's taken Hauser a bit longer to feel the same adoration from the fan base, there has been one person in his corner ever since he decided to transfer from Marquette. That would be his head coach, Tom Izzo. We're going to sit down with him when we come back to relive Hauser's most memorable moment to date in a Spartan uniform.
Tap into savings when you use your MSU Federal Credit Union Visa Signature Credit Card. The Visa Signature Credit Card gives you more cash back, like 3% cash back on groceries, 2% cash back on gas, travel, and universities, and 1% cash back on everything else. Simply tap to pay with your MSU FCU Visa Signature. It's fast, easy, and convenient. Tap to pay, get more cash back with the MSU FCU Visa Signature Credit Card.
Welcome back to the MSU Federal Credit Union Coaches Show.
If you've tuned into any of our shows this year, you've heard Tom Izzo tell us once or twice about the belief he has in Joey Hauser. A lot of it stems from what he's been able to see from him in practice this season, but on Wednesday he was able to carry it over into the game. And as a result, the 10th ranked Spartans remain unbeaten in conference play. Joey Hauser, he hits that game-winning shot for you guys. This place erupted. And the one person who maybe jumped the highest and sprinted to Joey the first was Steven to give him a big hug. Describe that moment and what it just meant for Joey.
Well, you know, they've been good friends since I recruited them. But it's funny because Steven's not a big emotional guy. You know, he's opposite of me. And when I was watching the film last night, I saw Steven and I went, who the hell's that kid? You know, in the locker room, somebody in the media after the game asked me, I walked by the locker room and it was, you could hear people yelling and screaming, you know, like, what did we win, a Final Four game? And I said, believe it or not, most of those guys, every one of them, Marcus and Julius, I mean, they were happy for Joey. And that was what brings a team together.
Yeah, you've been telling us all year that you have been believing in Joey and what he can do because of what you've seen in practice. So to see it play out in a game come to fruition in that way, how can that be a big confidence booster for him?
Well, you know, he was 4 for 5 and did another nice job on Battle, and Battle's a good player. And whoever thought we'd say Joey was, you know, defensively has become really good. But he did all those things, but those aren't monumental numbers. But I think this will be a shot in the arm just to let them know people do appreciate him, both coaches, but mostly those players, and even the fans.
It was good, too, because, you know, you get to keep your undefeated record in Big Ten play, 9 straight wins. You like the momentum that you have, especially not being able to play against Michigan. You had that break there. How beneficial do you think it was to maybe have some extra time to focus on yourself?
You know, I really thought, as crazy as it sounds, it hurt us a little bit not playing. If we play the Michigan game and win, now you're really jacked. If you play the Michigan game and lose, now you refocus in. You know, we're on this streak. We're not trying to think we're better than we are. But sometimes the players, they hear from all the people outside and like, you know, wow, you already beat them. This should be an easy game. And this has been good. I'm cautiously optimistic too about who we've played, you know, and that's no insult to Minnesota but if you look at the bottom 5 teams, we've played 4 of them.
What do you want to see then in the rematch with Northwestern?
I want to see if we can respect the game. You've heard me complaining about our defense. Not many times in my career have I complained about my defense. And we're not playing as solid or as hard defensively. Our rebounding was poor. Our loose balls were poor. We missed 3 dead layups. I mean, no insult to you or my players, but you would have made them. That play right before the half when we had fouls to give, I have to take complete blame for that. We told them what to do, but we haven't worked on it enough. And so there's things that they're at fault at, things I'm at fault at, and we're just going to try to get better in these next couple days.
What did Roy say to you after the game, too? What was his take on your team and what he saw right courtside here?
I really enjoyed having him here because his last couple of years, you know, he went through some frustrating things, too. I think it's the times, COVID, the entitlement generation, all those things. And, you know, I said, you want to say a few words to the team? I brought him in the locker room, and you know, he said kind of what we all would think, you know, that it's still a win. And we've all played in those games and lost. And so you can learn more from a win, but you do got to move on, but you got to learn. You know, everybody wants to just move on. Oh, that's behind us. Did we learn anything? You know, you got to learn something from, I won't say failure, but from average play. I mean, if you do a show at night and you weren't very good, I might not know you weren't very good, but you probably do. And now, do you learn from it, or do you make the same mistake the next time? That's kind of the way it is for us, too.
Wow, you're getting your broadcast hat on.
Yeah, just in case, someday.
Well, good luck against Northwestern.
Yeah, you know, I think it's going to be exciting to see how we respond. And, you know, that's what you should look for. That's what everybody should look for. But we are 14-2, and Roy had to remind me of that too. You know, he said to the team, "There's not many times I've been 14-2."
The next Big Ten foe the Spartans have to face is Northwestern on Saturday here in EL, and they'll be looking for a sweep of the Wildcats as well after beating them at the beginning of the month. And hey, speaking of a sweep, will Michigan State's hockey team be able to pick up 2 more wins this weekend at Wisconsin? We're going to visit with Coach Danton Cole after the break to find out.
Welcome back to the MSU Federal Credit Union Coaches Show.
Michigan State's hockey team has been getting ready for its 2-game series this weekend at Wisconsin. And the Spartans are in total bounce-back mode after being swept by Minnesota at home. It's just the second time this season the Spartans have dropped back-to-back games in the Big Ten. And despite falling to Mini, head coach Danton Cole did see some positives from the series.
There's always, you know, good things happen and bad things happen, and you want the guys to learn from that. And you know, you can grow a little bit, or you can really rebound and move on from it. And we've got enough experience now in the year. We played, you know, we've had 22 games, and we had a little bit of a similar thing earlier in the year, I think, with the Ohio State series, where we did get a win on the road, but I didn't think we played very well. And we worked really hard that week going into the Michigan series, and the first game against them was kind of a tough game, and then the next game started out a little tough, but then I thought we kind of caught ourselves and figured out how hard we have to work and how physical you have to be and how together you have to be as a team. And we kind of looked back at that yesterday when we talked to the team and said, hey, listen, like, you know what, we're playing good teams. It's not always going to go right. There's going to be some adversity in lots of different ways. But let's get ourselves back on track and give ourselves the best chance to win. So, you know, I hope that's what they took out of it.
When you watched the film then, what gave you confidence? What did you like from the Minnesota series, even if it didn't turn out the way you would have hoped on paper?
I did like the way we bounced back. I liked our energy and physicality early. Didn't like the way we responded to that. We, you know, took too many penalties. You know, we had 7 penalty kill that game. We only had 1 power play, so you got to stay away from that. But we also have to learn that when you do get that adversity, you can't lose your emotion. You can't lose your enthusiasm. You have to build through that, and you have to, you know, catch your back foot and go from there. And that's a big part of being a team. And if you're not having a great game, bring some enthusiasm.
How does Pierce Charleston to bring enthusiasm?
You know, he kind of jumped on the scene with us, and it was a weird year last year, and Drew was a known entity and got the bulk of the games early on. Just the weirdness of the schedule kind of dictated that a little bit. But he was real good throughout. I think the guys have confidence in him, and then he played a lot at the end of the year, and we saw that he's a darn good goaltender. It was a good time to stick him in against Minnesota, and he had a heck of a game. And like I said, if we hadn't scored 2 on him, maybe you know, on ourselves, it might have been a different outcome. But I think, again, just like Drew, the guys have confidence, and that's a good feeling when you're playing, knowing that, hey, if you mess up, there's a guy back there that'll bail you out. Dr. Rosen calls the goalies. They have to have that. They're the bail bondsmen of the team. You know, when something goes wrong, they're there to take care of business for the team.
You switched the lines up a little bit from Friday to Saturday night, but what have you liked with Eric Mittendorf and Jesse Tucker?
You know what, Tuck's been playing real well, and he's been on the puck and does a good job forechecking, and Eric's real good away from the puck, and not that he's not a good forechecker, but he can kind of read the play, and both his goals were really good. I like that we need to get Mitty back on the score sheet. I know he hadn't scored in a few games, so you know, sometimes you're gripping a little tighter. That was good. So hey, we like that, and you know, with Louis out for a little bit right now, you know, we had to move some things around anyhow, and it looked like a good time, and tell you what, for a good portion of the game, it seemed like it worked.
Yeah, and you expect your upperclassmen to maybe be a little bit more savvy in scoring, or, you know, getting goals in the net for you, but when you have a freshman like Jesse Tucker, who is kind of finding himself in that way, How important is that for your team?
It's kind of an added bonus. You know, it's like making a trade at the deadline for, you know, in pro sports where you get a veteran guy that can come in and fill some big time, big minutes for you. And you look at how hard it is to score in the Big Ten, especially for freshmen and even sometimes sophomores. There's a real maturation process. So when you start getting some scoring out of the freshmen, it really helps.
Yeah, and before we, you know, close the interview this week, we are in the weight room. Because I want you to tell people maybe one of the best things about this room that you are really enjoying and that your players are benefiting from as well.
Yeah, well, the proximity is the obvious one. You know, the guys can pop right in here during the week, and we can do our pregame warm-ups in here. You know, that's real nice. The thing that's real top-notch about this, and Coach Vork and the guys on campus did a great job when they're designing it, was just the scientific basis of everything. You know, we have the machines that we can do sled work in here as opposed to having going out on the field. We've got monitors on the rack so we can, you know, judge bar speed, and we can do some teaching and get video of the guys. So I think the feedback and the teaching opportunities that Vork and our strength staff have in here are just outstanding. And not that you don't have them in another weight room, but this is tailored, you know, for the hockey team and the hockey program. So again, it'll be just a great teaching environment, and we really want to be a world-class training facility. I want this to be a hockey center for guys. They come here, they're going to get a good education. We make sure of that, but we also want to give them the best chance to play in the National Hockey League, and this is a huge piece for us.
Well, good luck against Wisconsin this week, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, thank you very much.
The Spartans have been playing hockey in East Lansing for 100 years, so this brand new weight room has been a long time coming, and you're going to want to stay with us because you're going to get an up-close and personal look at all the bells and whistles it has to offer when we come back.
Welcome back to the MSU Federal Credit Union Coaches Show.
They say iron sharpens iron, and there's no better place for a Division I hockey team to get stronger than in a brand new weight room where they can throw some iron around. Our Nick Mantis was able to get a full tour of the new facility, and as you'll see, this is going to be a game changer for the program.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today. Let's kind of go through how you guys decided to plan this weight room with the amount of space that you have.
With the 5,000 square feet that we had in this, you know, for this facility, we really wanted to bang for the buck as far as getting equipment that was going to have multiple uses. Maybe not a whole lot of moving around within your workout, but you could do a lot of things right in place at the different workstations we have.
How have you guys been able to kind of utilize that space? If you just look at the kind of different parts of it that you've been really excited about, that it kind of makes it the most bang for your buck, as you were saying.
Well, whether it's something as simple as a flip-up bench for storage, just from a space perspective, you know, you can kind of flip that up and get it out of the way. We can bring it back down. We can do our bench press by dropping these hooks down, or we can do some sort of, you know, some sort of jammer type movement, you know, with the movement arm. These arms slide down too, where you could drop it down to the ground and do a deadlift, you know, right from the ground too. So there's a lot of use there.
As we walk down the weight room a little bit, how have you kind of enjoyed seeing the way in which the guys have really taken to this room so far?
Everybody likes something shiny and new, the new bells and whistles. It doesn't matter what sport, what athlete, what coach, it's new to them. And you know what, I think the best part about this is it's in hockey space. They don't have to go anywhere. For years, players we've been asking them to walk to the football building. You know, well, this time of year it's not the most pleasant time to walk out after a practice, so boom, they get to come upstairs right from the locker room right to here. So that's probably been, they'll probably tell you that's been the best part of it, you know, for them.
Well, Nico, it's not just a great weight room, obviously, for lifting, but there's also some great technology you guys have as well as when it comes to some endurance work as well. What do you love most about these new treadmills that you guys have?
I definitely love them. Different features, everything, you know, you can do sprints in them, you can do sled pushes, you can do kind of everything what you want, so it's definitely perfect for us.
Well, let's go ahead and see what we got going on here. So go ahead and hop up for us.
Yep. So first I'm going to do a normal sprint.
Okay.
Yep, and that's just like build up to that.
So you can kind of glide with it too.
Exactly. And the resistance is a little bit lower then, and then you can also do just get the resistance in.
Okay.
And then you do sled pushes, where you go like that.
Wow.
Then you go like that.
You're really pushing off on that. So you don't have to have an entire sled. Everything is done right here.
Exactly. It's like you can do different stuff. You can have different resistance, so it's perfect.
Coach Goodrich, thank you for welcoming us into your weight room, and we're going to go into the technology a little bit. And Nico, thank you for being our guinea pig and showing us how things are run here. Coach, let's just go with the way in which you guys are able to use the technology and the squat rack for a workout for an athlete like this.
Yep, absolutely. So we have Elite Form, which is a velocity-based training software, and it has the cameras that are up on the rack and the computer all relayed to the iPad here mounted to the rack. The athlete will have their own profile within the software. We will have pre-designed programs in the iPad, and they'll go and be able to go in and click through. If Nico goes ahead, gets set, we click start here. We have the exercise keyed in. It'll tell him to get ready and go ahead. So Nico is doing just a basic barbell high pull. That's good, Nico. When we're done with the set, it shows the graphs of his velocity, peak and average. We can also toggle through into power output and work. We can set things up on our end, on the front end, to be training for specific velocities for the day, depending on the training response that we're looking for. We can also set it up for hitting certain power outputs that we're looking for. So the nice thing about this is it allows us to focus on what's inside the rack, which is the athlete, and not putting just the main focus on what's outside, which is just the weight on the bar.
When it comes to this technology, how do you hope that it can develop their love for the weight room, seeing the ways in which they get that instant response and that instant gratification as to what they're doing is right where you want them to be?
Yeah, I think is keying into their motivation and letting them obviously feel it in the moment within the competitiveness, but when they start to feel that, on the ice or with, whatever sport it may be, that's really where I think it starts to grow, and their love for training starts to grow. When that transfers over to the sport, that's when you really start to get the motivation aspect.
Well, Coach, I appreciate you walking us through it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Nico, as always, thank you. I appreciate the pleasure. And hope you guys have a great rest of your workout. And I am jealous that I'm not getting in one right now with you, but hopefully I have to come back and we'll get some lifting.
Absolutely.
For those of you who may not know this, Nick is a former strength and conditioning coach, so that would be quite a sight to see him lifting with the guys. All right, that'll do it for our show this week. As always, thank you for being with us. Have a great weekend and stay safe.